we talk about life, one truth always stands at the center: the power of choice. Every single day, whether we realize it or not, we are making choices that shape who we are and where we are going. Some choices feel small, like how we spend the first hour of our morning, what we eat, who we spend time with. Others feel bigger: what career we pursue, which people we trust, how we react to challenges. But here's the reality: even the smallest decisions carry the seeds of tomorrow. The path of our life is not written only by fate, but by the choices we continue to make in every moment. Think about it. Two people may be born into almost the same circumstances, with the same struggles and the same opportunities. One chooses to rise, to take responsibility, to believe that they can create something better. The other chooses excuses, chooses to wait for luck, chooses to stay comfortable instead of stepping forward. And over time, those choices begin to draw a line, a visible difference in their lives. It is not just talent or luck or opportunity that separates them. It is choice. Many of us look at successful people and assume they were destined to achieve what they have. But if you listen carefully to their stories, you will notice a common thread. They made choices when it was hardest to choose. They chose discipline over laziness. They chose courage over fear. They chose persistence over giving up. And even when they failed, they chose to rise again instead of staying down. That's the real difference. The choice to keep moving forward when everything inside you says it would be easier to stop. But why do choices matter so much? Because choices are like seeds planted into the soil of time. You never see the result immediately. A small seed can look like nothing, almost invisible. But in time it grows into something powerful. Maybe a tree that stands tall for decades. Your daily decisions, the habits you form, the way you respond to difficulties, these are your seeds. And every day you are planting. The question is, what will your harvest look like? The beautiful thing about life is that you do not need to control everything. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control every circumstance. You cannot even control other people. But what you can always control is your choice, your attitude, your effort, your response. That is your power, and no one can take it away from you. The problem is, too often we give that power away. We let fear decide for us. We let comfort decide for us. We let other people's opinions decide for us. And then we wonder why our life feels like it's not in our hands. The truth is, every time you refuse to choose for yourself, you are still making a choice to let something else control you. So today, I ask you to think deeply. Are you making choices that lead you closer to the life you want? Or are you allowing life to just happen to you? Are you choosing growth, or are you choosing comfort? Are you choosing to rise, or are you choosing to stay the same? Your life will always follow the direction of your choices, whether you accept it or not. And that is why I say again, with full conviction, your life, your choice. Every choice shapes your future. It's easy to overlook this truth because the effects of our decisions don't always appear instantly. When you choose to eat healthy today, you don't suddenly feel fit tomorrow. When you choose to study instead of wasting time, you don't wake up the next morning with a degree in your hand. When you choose to treat someone with kindness, you don't always see the reward immediately. But the thing about life is that choices are like invisible steps, and every step you take is leading you somewhere, toward a future that is being built one decision at a time. Think of it this way: life is like a road. At different points, you come across forks in the path, and each fork demands a choice. Go left or go right. Move forward or turn back. Take the harder uphill climb or take the easy downward slope. What you choose in that moment may not feel significant, but as days turn into weeks and weeks into years, the accumulation of those decisions determines where you arrive. You don't end up at success by accident, just as you don't end up in failure by a single mistake. It is the collection of choices that shapes the direction of your life. Many of us wish for a better future. We dream of living with freedom, peace, success, or fulfillment. But wishing alone doesn't create the future. It is the daily choices that act as bricks in the foundation of tomorrow. If you choose to waste time, neglect effort, or ignore your responsibilities, then years later you cannot be surprised by the life you've built. On the other hand, if you choose discipline, learning, and consistency, you will eventually step into the future you once dreamed about. Every successful person you admire didn't get there by one magical moment. They got there because day after day, they made choices aligned with their vision. They chose to wake up early, to stay focused, to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term growth. And the truth is, each of us has the same opportunity. The question is, what are we choosing now? because the future is nothing but the echo of our present choices. It's also important to realize that even small choices matter. Sometimes we underestimate the power of something as simple as reading 1 page a day, exercising for 10 minutes, or practicing gratitude before sleep. These small choices, repeated over time, transform into habits, and habits build character. And character decides destiny. On the flip side, small, careless choices, skipping effort, avoiding responsibility, giving in to negativity, also pile up. And slowly, without even realizing it, they pull a person away from the life they want. And when you really think about it, life gives everyone the same 24 hours, the same opportunity to make decisions. The difference between someone who creates a future worth living and someone who regrets their past lies in the power of their choices. You don't need to control tomorrow. You only need to make the right choices today, because tomorrow will be nothing more than the reflection of today's decisions. So when you ask yourself where you want to be in 5 or 10 years, the answer will not come from luck or chance, or even fate. It will come from the choices you are making right now. That is why I remind you, every choice shapes your future. Taking responsibility is one of the most powerful steps you can ever make in your life. Because the truth is, every choice comes with consequences, and every decision you take carries weight. The moment you decide something, whether small or big, you are also accepting the outcome that follows it. Too often, people want the benefits of good decisions without carrying the responsibility that comes with them. They want success without the discipline, growth without the struggle, and freedom without accountability. But life doesn't work that way. If you want the power to shape your own future, then you must also embrace the responsibility that comes with it. The easiest path is to blame others. It's simple to say, I couldn't succeed because of my family, my environment, my past, or my circumstances. And yes, challenges are real. Circumstances can be hard, but blaming does not change them. When you give the power of your life over to excuses, you lose control. The moment you stop taking responsibility is the moment you surrender your life to forces outside your control. Responsibility, on the other hand, gives you strength. It tells you that no matter what happened yesterday, no matter what difficulties stand in your way today, you still have the ability to choose your response. And that choice is yours to own. When you take responsibility, you stop living as a victim. You stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems. You start realizing that your future is not built by what happens to you, but by how you decide to react to it. If you fail, you own that failure, and in owning it, you also gain the power to learn and rise again. If you succeed, you acknowledge the effort and sacrifices that brought you there, instead of thinking it was pure luck. Responsibility is what gives meaning to both failure and success, because it keeps you grounded in reality and aware of your own role in shaping your destiny. There is a saying, freedom and responsibility go hand in hand. You cannot claim to be free if you are not responsible for your own actions. Think about it. When a child grows up, the sign of maturity is not just age, but the ability to take responsibility. In the same way, in life, the true sign of growth is not just years passing by, but the willingness to say, I am accountable for my decisions. That shift in mindset transforms everything. Suddenly, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop expecting others to solve your struggles, and you start building your own path. And yes, responsibility can feel heavy. Carrying the weight of your choices is not always easy, but that weight is what makes you stronger. Just like lifting weights in a gym builds muscle, carrying responsibility in life builds character. Every time you choose to face the outcome of your actions instead of running from it, you become more resilient, more capable, more prepared for the challenges ahead. The very thing that feels like a burden is actually the thing that builds your power. So I ask you, the next time you are faced with a decision, don't just think about what you want in the moment. Think about the responsibility that comes with it. Ask yourself, am I ready to carry the weight of this choice? Because only when you are willing to accept that responsibility do you truly step into the driver's seat of your life. That is why I remind you today, taking responsibility is not a burden. It is your greatest strength. Fear is one of the greatest barriers standing between you and the life you truly want to live. Every single one of us feels fear. It whispers in our minds, it weighs down our hearts, and it tells us, don't try, don't step forward, stay where it's safe. Fear is natural, but the problem begins when fear becomes the driver of our choices. Too many people allow fear to make their decisions for them, and when that happens, life shrinks. Opportunities pass by. Dreams fade away. potential is wasted. And it's not because the person couldn't succeed. It's because fear convinced them not to even try. Think about how many times in your own life you wanted to take a step forward but didn't because of fear. Maybe it was fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough. That one moment when you held back might have seemed small, but multiplied over years, those moments add up. And suddenly you look back and realize you never became what you could have been. That is the silent danger of fear. It steals not only the present but also the future. But here's the truth. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to act even while fear is still there. The most successful, the most inspiring people you admire are not people who never felt fear. They are people who felt it and still chose to move forward. They gave fear no power over their decisions. Instead, they treated fear as a signal that something important was at stake, something worth reaching for. And they acted anyway. Fear thrives in the unknown. When you stand before a new challenge, your mind immediately starts painting pictures of everything that could go wrong. You might embarrass yourself. You might fail. People might laugh at you. But what your fear never shows you is the other picture. What if it works? What if you succeed? What if you grow stronger? Fear exaggerates the risk and hides the reward. And if you don't see past that illusion, you'll remain stuck, trapped in the same patterns, never experiencing the life you could have lived. The most dangerous words fear teaches us are, what if I fail? But the more powerful question is, what if I never try? Failure is not permanent. You can fall and you can rise again. But if you never try, you live with regret, and regret lasts a lifetime. Fear might protect you from pain, but it also protects you from growth. It shields you from failure, but it also shields you from success. So every time you let fear decide, you are silently agreeing to live a smaller life. The way to break free from fear is not to wait until it disappears, because it never fully does. The way to break free is to move forward in spite of it, to take the first step even when your legs are shaking. And with every step, fear loses its grip on you. You begin to realize that fear is nothing more than a shadow. And once you walk through it, you discover that it had no real power after all. So when you face that next decision and fear begins to rise within you, remember this: the life you want is on the other side of that fear. And the choice is always yours, to stay safe or to step forward. That is why I say with conviction, true power begins when you break free from fear. The choice to grow is one of the most defining decisions you will ever make in life. Growth is never automatic. It doesn't just happen with age or with the passing of time. Real growth happens when you consciously decide that no matter what comes your way, you will use it as a chance to become stronger, wiser, and better. The truth is, life will not always hand you victories. It will test you, it will challenge you, and at times it will even break you. But within every setback lies a choice. Will you allow this to define your downfall, or will you choose to rise, learn, and grow? Every difficulty you face has two doors. One door leads to bitterness, complaining, and giving up. The other door leads to growth, learning, and transformation. And which door you walk through depends on the choice you make in that moment. The same fire that melts wax can also harden clay. The same storm that uproots weak trees can deepen the roots of the strong ones. Struggles by themselves do not decide your future. Your response to them does. It is easy to remain the same. It is easy to stay comfortable, to repeat the same habits, to think the same thoughts, to live in the same patterns. But comfort never leads to growth. Growth comes from stretching yourself, from stepping into unfamiliar territory, from doing the things that challenge you. And yes, it can feel uncomfortable at first. It can feel painful, but pain is often the sign of growth. Just as muscles ache when you train them, your mind and spirit also grow stronger when you push beyond your limits. Think of the people who inspire you most. They are not people who lived an easy life free of challenges. They are people who took their struggles and chose growth instead of defeat. They faced rejection, failure, criticism, and loss, but instead of letting those things break them, they let them build them. That is why their lives shine as an example. It was never the absence of problems that made them who they are. It was their choice to grow through those problems. The choice to grow also means the choice to learn. Every mistake you make can either become a weight of regret or a lesson that fuels your future. Growth demands humility. The humility to admit you don't know everything. The humility to accept correction. The humility to keep learning no matter how much you already know. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing, and when you stop growing, you stop living. Life was never meant to be stagnant. It was meant to be a journey of continuous growth, and that journey depends on what you choose to take from every experience. And remember, growth is not only about success, it is about transformation. Success is what you achieve, but growth is who you become. Every challenge is shaping you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more capable of handling the future. So when life tests you, instead of asking, "Why me?" start asking, "What can I learn? How can I grow from this?" That simple shift in perspective can turn even the darkest moment into a stepping stone toward a brighter future. So never forget, growth is not something that happens to you. It is something you choose. And when you choose growth, you are choosing a better version of yourself, a better future, and a life that keeps moving forward. That is why I remind you today, the choice to grow is always the choice to truly live. Life is not something that just happens to you. It is something you design with the choices you make. Every day, whether you are conscious of it or not, you are shaping the direction of your story. Some people live as if they are passengers, waiting for circumstances, waiting for luck, waiting for someone else to change things for them. But the truth is, you are not just a passenger. You are the designer, the builder, the architect of your own life. And the blueprint is drawn by the choices you commit to. Think for a moment about the life you are living right now. The habits you have, the relationships you keep, the opportunities you are enjoying, and even the struggles you are facing. Most of these are the result of past choices. Maybe some decisions were intentional and maybe some were careless, but either way, they created the reality you are in today. This is why design matters. If you don't design your life, then someone else will design it for you. If you don't decide what kind of future you want, then circumstances will push you wherever they want. And one day you might look back and realize that the life you are living is not the life you ever wanted. It's simply the result of choices you never took control of. Designing your life doesn't mean controlling every detail, because there will always be things outside your hands. But it does mean deciding who you want to become, what values you will live by, and what direction you will walk in no matter what storms come your way. A designer never leaves a building half-built or without structure. They create with intention. In the same way, when you live intentionally, your choices are no longer random. They are connected to a vision of the person you want to be and the future you want to create. It's also important to realize that designing your life requires discipline. Dreams alone are not enough. Everyone dreams of a better tomorrow, but not everyone commits to the choices that can turn that dream into reality. Discipline is what transforms vision into structure. Without discipline, choices become scattered, inconsistent, and weak. With discipline, every choice becomes a brick carefully placed in the foundation of your life. Over time, that foundation becomes strong and it supports the life you truly want to live. Of course, designing your life also means being ready to make adjustments. Just like an architect sometimes changes the plan to make the building stronger, you may have to change your approach, adapt to new situations, and learn from mistakes. That's not failure, that's wisdom. Every adjustment you make, every correction, is still a choice that keeps you aligned with the bigger vision of your life. What matters most is that you never stop being intentional. So ask yourself, if life is truly in your hands, what kind of story do you want to write? Do you want to look back one day and see a story of excuses, wasted time, and regret? Or do you want to see a story of courage, growth, and fulfillment? Because every choice you make today is a line in that story. You are writing it right now. And that is why I tell you with absolute certainty. Design your life because your future is built on the choices you make today.